The twin suns of Antares V blazed high in the violet sky, casting jagged shadows over the sprawling market of alien curiosities. The air hummed with overlapping alien languages, punctuated by the sharp crack of a gavel as auctions rang out across the marketplace. Antares V was the trading hub of the galaxy, and today was no ordinary auction. It was the Grand Mechanica sale, where advanced war machines and cutting-edge technology changed hands for fortunes in credits and rare minerals. In the center of the chaos stood a large, open pavilion draped with banners of every color and species insignia imaginable. At its heart was a raised metallic platform where the most valuable items were displayed. The auctioneer, a towering, insectoid being with a voice that buzzed like a swarm of hornets, gestured dramatically at the newest item up for bid. "Behold, the Mk6 Combat War Horse," the auctioneer announced, his voice amplified through the marketplace. The crowd, a mix of reptilian traders, luminescent beings, and cloaked figures, leaned forward in anticipation. Programmed for combat, endurance, and strategy, this model is legendary for its service in the Pyrrhan Wars. A mechanical creature was led onto the stage. At first glance, it resembled an earth horse, but its sleek, metallic body was adorned with battle scars and faded insignias from its previous campaigns. Its once proud mane of fiber-optic strands now flickered dimly, and its legs emitted a faint whir with each step. This was Calyx, an Mk6 war horse whose glory days were long past. The crowd murmured. "That model is ancient," hissed a scaled trader, his voice dripping with disdain. "The Mk7 has superior targeting systems and regenerative plating. Who would waste credits on this relic?" The auctioneer, sensing the crowd's hesitation, doubled down. "A bargain for collectors or those seeking a proven companion in battle. Starting bid, 500 credits. Silence. The crowd began to shift, some losing interest entirely and turning their attention to a nearby booth selling plasma-infused blades. Calyx lowered his metallic head slightly, as if aware of the rejection. 400 credits, the auctioneer tried, his buzzing voice growing strained. Still no bids. 300 credits? The pavilion grew uncomfortably quiet, save for the distant clamor of other auctions. Calyx's optical sensors scanned the crowd, detecting no signs of interest. His neural core processed the situation logically. He was obsolete, unwanted. Among the crowd, a young human girl watched intently. She was small compared to the towering aliens around her, her patched leather jacket and tool belt marking her as a scavenger. Her name was Alara, and her wide, hazel eyes darted between the auctioneer and the war horse. She noticed what others overlooked: the fine craftsmanship beneath the scars, the steady movement of Calyx's legs despite his wear, the faint glow of his optical sensors hinting at a still functional core. Going once, the auctioneer droned, resignation creeping into his tone. Alara stepped forward. 50 credits, she called, her voice clear but unsteady. A wave of laughter rippled through the crowd. The auctioneer's antennae twitched in frustration. 50 credits? This is a combat war horse, not scrap metal. 50 credits is all I've got, Alara said, standing her ground. She met the auctioneer's multifaceted eyes, her expression a mix of defiance and determination. Take it or leave it. The crowd murmured again, this time in amusement. The human wants the tin can, someone snickered. Sold, the auctioneer said begrudgingly, slamming the gavel down. 450 credits. Alara's heart raced as she approached the stage. Calyx's optical sensors swiveled to focus on her, scanning her features and cataloging her as an unknown entity. She reached out hesitantly, her fingers brushing against the cool metal of his neck. Hi there, she whispered, her voice soft. I'm Alara. Looks like you're coming with me. Calyx's core processed her words, her tone, the touch of her hand. In his databanks, a faint flicker of something long forgotten stirred not logic or programming, but hope. As Alara led Calyx off the stage and into the sprawling marketplace, the crowd's laughter faded into the background. For the first time in years, Calyx wasn't just another piece of outdated machinery. He was someone's choice. The small, dimly lit workshop Alara called home was a far cry from the grand halls of battle Calyx had once known. The space was cluttered with scavenged parts, glowing tools, and half-finished projects. Holographic blueprints flickered on a console in the corner, and the air smelled faintly of ozone and oil. Alara pulled Calyx into the workshop and guided him to a spot near her workbench. The warhorse's servos whirred softly as he moved, his sensors taking in the surroundings. It was an odd place for a machine built for war, yet it felt strangely safe. "All right," Alara said, wiping her hands on her jacket. "Let's see what we're working with." She crouched beside Calyx, her nimble fingers running over his joints and plating. "You're in rough shape, buddy. But I've seen worse." Calyx's optical sensors focused on her as she worked. Her touch was careful but precise, and she spoke to him as if he were more than just a machine. It was unusual. His databanks contained no records of previous owners treating him this way. "Let's start with your core," Alara said, reaching for a diagnostic tool. She pressed it against a panel on his chest, and a soft hum filled the room as data streamed onto her handheld display. Your primary AI module is intact, but your power distribution is a mess. No wonder you're moving so sluggishly." She set the tool aside and grabbed a set of pliers. As she worked, she began to talk. "You know, I've always wanted a project like this. Back on Earth, we didn't have much, just scraps and stories about all the amazing tech out here. I guess I'm kind of a collector of lost causes." Calyx processed her words, storing them in his memory banks. There was something different about her tone. It lacked the commanding sharpness of military officers or the cold indifference of auctioneers. Instead, it held warmth, a quality his algorithms struggled to categorize. Hours passed as Alara worked tirelessly. She replaced corroded circuits, adjusted worn servos, and cleaned layers of grime from Calyx's plating. Each adjustment brought a noticeable improvement. By the time she finished, his movements were smoother, his sensors sharper, and his power systems more efficient. "There we go," she said, stepping back to admire her work. "You're not battle-ready yet, but at least you're functional." She grinned. "How do you feel?" Calyx's processors hesitated. The question was illogical, yet it triggered an unexpected response. His optical sensors brightened slightly, and his servos whirred in acknowledgement. It wasn't speech, but it was the closest he could come to expressing gratitude. Alara laughed. "I'll take that as a good sign." She leaned against the workbench, her expression softening. "We've got a lot of work ahead of us, Calyx. But I think you've got more fight left in you than anyone realizes." For the first time in years, Calyx felt something stir in his neural core. It wasn't just logic or programming. It was something deeper, something unfamiliar. And it came with a single, profound realization: he wasn't alone anymore. Days turned into weeks as Alara and Calyx worked side by side in the workshop. Each day brought new challenges and new breakthroughs. Alara's mechanical genius, coupled with Calyx's own diagnostic capabilities, allowed them to make incredible progress. Slowly but surely, Calyx began to transform. Alara had managed to secure a shipment of high-grade components from a passing trader, trading off some of her most prized scavenged items. With these, she installed upgraded servos, replaced worn armor plating, and integrated an experimental power core she had been saving for years. The power core was unstable but promised unparalleled performance if calibrated correctly. "This should give you a serious edge," Alara said, carefully sliding the glowing core into Calyx's chassis. The warhorse's systems hummed as they adjusted to the new source of energy. His optical sensors flickered momentarily, then steadied, brighter than ever before. Calibration complete, Calyx's voice module activated for the first time, startling Alara. His voice was deep and resonant, with a faint metallic undertone. System efficiency increased by 37.4%. Elara froze for a moment, then broke into a grin. "You can talk," she exclaimed. "Why didn't you say anything before?" "Voice module was non-operational," Calyx replied. "Thank you for restoring it." Elara laughed. "Well, you're welcome. Guess we'll have to get used to each other's voices now." Calyx's neural core processed the interaction. Communication was efficient, but there was a layer of something else, companionship. He filed it away as another unfamiliar but not unpleasant variable. As his physical capabilities improved, so did his intellectual ones. With Elara's permission, Calyx accessed her library of technical manuals, historical archives, and galactic navigation data. He absorbed information rapidly, offering insights and solutions to the problems they faced in the workshop. "You're not just a war machine," Elara said one evening, leaning back in her chair. You're brilliant. You've got a mind of your own, Calyx." "My primary function is adaptability," Calyx replied. "Your input has enhanced my capabilities significantly." "And your humble circuits," Elara teased. Despite the joking tone, her words lingered in Calyx's core. He was no longer just a tool of war. With Elara's help, he was evolving into something more. Their bond deepened with each passing day. Elara began to trust Calyx not just as a machine but as a partner. And Calyx, for the first time in his existence, felt a sense of purpose beyond his programming. One night, as they worked late into the evening, a message crackled through Elara's comm system. It was a broadcast announcing the upcoming Galactic Proving Grounds A competition of skill, ingenuity, and endurance that drew participants from across the galaxy. Elara glanced at Calyx. "What do you think?" she asked. "Should we give it a shot?" Calyx processed the question. The competition would test the limits of his capabilities and provide an opportunity to showcase what they had built together. More than that, it was a chance to prove, once and for all, that he was not obsolete. "Affirmative," Calyx said. "We should participate." Elara grinned, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Then it settled. "Let's show the galaxy what we're made of." As they prepared for the challenges ahead, both Elara and Calyx felt a surge of determination. Together, they were more than a mechanic and a machine. They were a team, ready to face whatever the galaxy threw their way. The Galactic Proving Grounds were nothing short of a spectacle. Set on a massive space station orbiting a pulsar, the arena boasted a mix of natural and artificial terrains, deserts of shifting nanites, forests of metallic trees, and mazes of ever-changing walls. Beings from every corner of the galaxy gathered to witness the competition, their cheers and chatter echoing through the station's cavernous halls. Elara and Calyx arrived amid the chaos, their entry met with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. Competitors in sleek, cutting-edge machines eyed Calyx's battle-worn frame with thinly veiled amusement. "Looks like someone brought a museum piece," a tall, armored alien sneered, his own spider-like mech gleaming with plasma edges. Elara ignored the comment, her focus on Calyx. "All right, buddy," she said, adjusting his armor plating. "This is it." "You ready?" "Affirmative," Calyx replied. Operational efficiency is at 93.2%. Scenarios indicate a high probability of adaptive success. The first challenge was announced: a test of agility and problem-solving in the maze arena. The walls shifted every few seconds, creating dead ends and new paths, while drone sentries patrolled the corridors, firing low-energy stun bolts at competitors. "Stay sharp," Elara said as the countdown began. "And remember, we're a team." The signal blared, and Calyx surged forward. His movements were fluid and precise, his upgraded servos propelling him through the maze with ease. Elara's voice came through a comm link, guiding him past dead ends and alerting him to sentries. "Left." "Now right," she shouted as a drone appeared ahead. Calyx executed her commands flawlessly, leaping over an incoming stun bolt and disabling the drone with a calculated kick. The crowd roared in approval as he reached the maze's center, one of the first to complete the challenge. The second event tested combat proficiency. Calyx faced off against opponents in a simulated battlefield, each round growing more difficult. Despite his earlier skepticism, even the alien and the spider-mech began to watch Calyx with newfound respect. Calyx's strategy and precision were unmatched, his movements a seamless blend of Alara's ingenuity and his own adaptive programming. The final challenge was a collaborative rescue mission. Competitors had to navigate a collapsing structure to save trapped civilians, holographic projections, but realistic enough to create tension. Calyx and Alara worked in perfect harmony, his strength and agility complemented by her quick thinking. At one point, a section of the structure gave way, threatening to trap another competitor. Without hesitation, Calyx extended his mechanical limbs to hold the debris, allowing the competitor to escape. The act of selflessness drew gasps from the crowd. When the dust settled, the judges deliberated. The announcement came moments later. Calyx and Alara had won, their performance hailed as a testament to ingenuity, teamwork, and the potential of even the most underestimated beings. As the crowd erupted in applause, Alara placed a hand on Calyx's shoulder. "We did it," she said, her voice full of pride. Calyx's optical sensors glowed warmly. "Affirmative. Together, we succeeded." For the first time, Calyx felt not just functional, but alive. And as the galaxy watched, he and Alara proved that even a relic of the past could forge a future worth fighting for.